Nick said, do you think Edwards and Hughes have been given an ultimatum of re-signing the players with little summer investment versus hefty summer investment, but only one player can stay signed on? Crazy theory on my part, but not past FSG. Right, so I guess the question might be, so what's Mo on? 350 grand a week. I'm going to have to get the calculator out here. Nick, bear with me, bro. So 350,000 multiplied by 52 times 2. So if we kept Mo on the same contract he's on now for 2 years, you're talking about £36.5 million there or thereabouts. So I guess the question then comes, that at a cost to Liverpool per season is 18 million quid. That's what it costs the club each year to keep Mo. So do I see a world where Edwards thinks, well, for an amortised number of about 10 million or 12 million, I could get another player in who can give me 5 years at a lower cost per season? Do I think that that's possible? Absolutely. Yes. 100%. So I think over the course of time, yeah, there's probably a line of thinking that they feel like money can be better spent elsewhere and get better value for that money over a longer period of time. Like maybe they look at Salah as thinking they're throwing 36.5 million quid down the drain because there's no resale value there. Again, I guess we're all hypothesizing here, Nick, right? Because we don't really know. Barry, Craig, can we have a poll, mate? How many outgoings in the summer? 0 to 2, 3 to 5, 5 plus. Just interested to see if others expect big change like myself. Would it be better to go outgoings or incomings, Barry? Because if you're talking outgoings, well, if you're throwing in, let's say, Tyler Morton's, Nat Phillips, it gets a bit. Do they count? Do they not count when you're talking about moving on? So I'd say go for incomings, first team incomings, if that's all right, because I think that makes the most sense. So bear with me. Okay, I'll ask you a question, Barry, because you're always so generous, mate, but I'll word it slightly differently if you don't mind. So I said, how many first team squad regulars will leave this summer? So how many first team squad regulars will leave this summer? 0 to 2, 3 to 5, or 5 plus. How many players do you think we sign this summer? I don't think I can give you a fair answer, Gio, when I don't know what's going on with the contracts. So I'll give you 2 answers if that's all right. One that sees all 3 leave, and one that sees 2 of the 3 leave. So if all 3 left, what I think we'd need, and what I would expect as a fan, 6 or 7 would be the number if all 3 left. We need 2 centre backs, a left back, probably a right back, a midfielder that I still think we need now, although I'm open to that being by Cechich if Arna has faith in him. We need a right winger, we need a centre forward or 2. So I think 6 or 7 sounds about right to me. Now look, there will be players who will come through that maybe start getting utilised a bit more. Your Trey Neonis, your young Rios, your Jaden Dans maybe coming back from loan. So some of that could be offset depending on who the manager trusts or not. If all 3 were to stay, 4 probably. Boeing Zabadi said, I think outgoings is a good idea. Just first teamers like Jota, Darwin, Lucho, Harvey. Yeah, so I'm going to start going through some names if that's okay. And I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen with them in the summer. So let me get the squad up from yesterday. Well, please do vote away in that poll, by the way, in the background. But I'm going to go through yesterday's matchday squad, and I'm going to tell you who I think stays or goes. So we'll start off with the starting 11. Alisson, I think he stays. Trent, I'm probably more likely that he goes. Canade stays. I think his contract will be renewed. Virgil, I think Virgil stays. How much confidence I have saying that, I'm not sure. Robbo stays. Gravenberch, McAllister stay. Salah, I think he goes. Soboslai obviously stays. Diaz, I think he probably goes, but I wouldn't sell him. Jota, I would sell, but I don't know what's going to happen with him. Moving on to the bench. Endo, oh God. I think he might want to keep Endo around, in all honesty. I think Endo's probably earned his trust as somebody who he can utilise in a few positions. So I think Endo might be one of the few players who've potentially won Ireland around to some extent. Darwin gone, Chiesa gone, Jones stays, Gakpo stays, Elliott. Unfortunately, I think he goes, and I don't want him to, but I think he goes. Costas goes, McConnell alone, Yaros contract's up, Kelleher contract with 1 year to go will be sold, and Kwanzaa stays. So yeah, that's what I think happens. So a lot to change. I'm not sure on Diaz. Like, the forward situation's a really intriguing one, because I think if you ask most people to remove 2 forwards from the forward list, they'd probably say Jota and Darwin. But I think we may see Darwin and Diaz be the 2 that actually go. And I was shocked to hear that Diogo Jota hadn't scored a Champions League goal in 4 years. That really shocked me. But it also shocked me how bad he looked yesterday again. If Virgil stays, who would you bring in? You mean if Virgil only stays, I think is what you meant, Stephen. Who would you bring in? It's really tough. I don't know the budgets we're working with. So, if we lost Trent, who would I bring in at right back? I'd probably look for somebody about 25, 26 to compete with Bradley, because I don't think we can rely... I don't think I could sit here with a clear conscience and say to you that Conor Bradley is going to be the guy next season, because we don't know if he's going to pick up more injuries or not. So I think you need to have a really high caliber player to battle with him. So who that would be, I honestly don't know. You're going to say Frimpong 50 times in the chat, and I'm going to say, I don't think so. But I don't know who it might be. Salah. We're starting to see names like João Pedro being mentioned. And I'm going to discuss that in tonight's late night video, because the price tag is absolutely embarrassingly high. At 100 million is the number that's been mentioned. If the club had real ambition, they'd try and get a Nico Williams, or maybe even try and get Rodrigo out of Real Madrid. But again, you're paying top dollar there, and that's not really what Liverpool do, is it? Liverpool look for those up and coming, underappreciated players. Rafa Leao is falling off a cliff. I don't think it should be him. Adeyemi might be an interesting one. Semenyo, but I mean, how many players are Bournemouth going to lose? You know, if they're going to look Huijsen, Kirkes, they're going to want Semenyo gone as well. And I'm sure people will start sniffing around Kluivert at some point. Gittins is an interesting one, George. Yeah, Gittins is an interesting one. Can you really replace Salah or his contributions? No, you can't. Not like for like, Nimnoy. But you can still bring in players who will give us an output. Like, what I think we miss is pace at the minute. You know, that was something last night that was a noticeable difference for me between our attack and their attack. We used to have the red arrows, right? You used to have Mane bombing down one wing, Salah bombing down the other wing, just pace everywhere. And last night, Diogo Jota looked like he was running through custard. Diaz is fast-ish, but I wouldn't call him lightning. And Salah isn't as fast as he once was. And then you look at their attack and you just see the pace of a Dembele. I think we need pace. Pace is really, really key to me. So if you want pace, you're usually looking at a younger winger. Mbeumo is an interesting one. I love Mbeumo as a player. Really, really love Brian Mbeumo. And I think Brian Mbeumo would... I think Liverpool fans would love him, in all honesty. I do. I think he'd come in and be a workhorse, contribute goal-wise, Premier League proven, 24 years of age. Look, you don't need to twist my arm on Mbeumo. I think he's a brilliant footballer. Nick said, strong feelings that we have to rely heavily on youth players to save us in a few years' time. Brighton being con men isn't new news. Like, look, I know there are people who want Joe. He's 26 now, I think. Who? Mbeumo? No, he's not. He's 24, maybe 25. Because I was really shocked when I looked into his age, because I thought he was about 27 or 28. On Mbeumo, yeah, I love him. But Brighton are piss-taken on the price. Like, I know there are people who like the idea of João Pedro, but 100 million, he's not worth half of that. Not in my eyes, anyway. And I don't think Isak's worth 150 million either. But I'd love him. You know, I'd absolutely love to have Alexander Isak at our club. But I don't think he's worth 150 million. So he's 26 in August, Lukey Boy said. That's probably pushing it, maybe. But I still have him. I still think at Ibrahimo Day you've got 5-6 solid years. So I'd still say yes for the right number. Pace is a slot requirement in his players, I reckon, Craig. I reckon so. You know, and usually if you want pace, you're going to have to go younger. Because, you know, as players get older, it's natural they lose a yard of pace, and they usually make up for it with other attributes like better reading of the game, being more economical with their movement, or, you know, having more assists.